Howdy everyone, it's Sam. I hope you're doing really well. If you're new around here, I hope I can get you to consider liking the content and subscribing to the channel. And if you are a regular around these here parts, thank you very much for the continuous support. NRL resumes this weekend with round 16. Also being Beanie for Brain Cancer round. This beanie that I'm wearing on me noggin right now, I purchased back in 2019, and you can go get a brand newie out at your local IGA, I believe, or even a Lowe's, I'm pretty sure. Last round 15, I got a perfect 8 from 8, and I really hope I can keep the ball going. So let's get stuck into round 16. Manly Warringah Seagulls host the Melbourne Storm to kick off round 16 on Thursday night from 4 Pines Park, and the Melbourne Storm come into the game $1.31 favourites to the Manly Seagulls $3.50 outsiders. And the team list news for both of these sides is as follows. The news for the Manly Seagulls is that all the Origin stars are seemingly backing up. The forward pack has a bit of a change. Kepi starting in jersey number 8. Toafafoa Sipley is in jersey number 10. Olakawatu's back in jersey 11. And the bench for Manly reads Walker, Schuster, Tapau, and Paseka comes back into the fold for the Manly Seagulls this weekend. And for the Melbourne Storm, man, I really thought Ryan Papenhuyzen, I think everyone thought Ryan Papenhuyzen was going to fill in the number 1 jersey this weekend. He's been named in jersey number 19, and I think there's still a sneaky chance that he could come into the fold because Cameron Munster picked up a shoulder injury and is in some doubt this weekend. And it was reported he was going to be missing for at least 2 weeks. But Munster has been named in jersey 6, but I reckon it's a bit of mind games, Craig Bellamy. I think Munster will be rested in this contest. Therefore, Nick Meaney will shift from fullback into the 5/8 role to partner Jerome Hughes, who was outstanding for New Zealand this past weekend. And I think Ryan Papenhuyzen will find himself in jersey 19, but playing starting fullback position. And then the rest of the bench, you've got Jaden Nikorima. Is that his first grade debut? No, surely. But Jaden Nikorima has been named in jersey number 14. Tui Kamikamika, Tom Eisenhuth, and Nelson Asafa-Solomona. Last time these two sides met was only about 5 weeks ago or so. And the Melbourne Storm, while they weren't overly impressive, they got the job done by 13 plus. Manly Seagulls were in that contest, but their discipline both on and off the ball is what really crucified them in that game. I'm going to tip the Melbourne Storm, but I'm not going to do it 13 plus. I think the Melbourne Storm will get this one 1-12 on Thursday night from 4 Pines Park. Friday night sees a double header, and game number 1 is from McDonald Jones Stadium in the Hunter Valley. The Newcastle Knights host the Gold Coast Titans. Oh. Sportsbet.com.au can't seem to split these two sides who are anchoring that bottom 4 of the ladder. It's $1.90 each way and fair income. How do you summarize? How can you really predict what's going to happen in this game? This is going to be something. This is the first time that these two sides have met this year. The last time that these two sides met, it was a 1-point victory to the Newcastle Knights to concrete their finals aspirations last year with the boot of Mitchell Pearce, who is no longer there. Speaking of no longer there, Kalen Ponga has been ruled out of this game due to a HIA concussion that he suffered in State of Origin the other night. Therefore, Tex Hoy pops in the number 1 jersey for the Newcastle Knights, but in a return for the other side, David Fafita has been named in jersey number 17. Going through the rest of the Newcastle Knights list, Adam Clune is going to be the number 7 for the Newcastle Knights. And the bench for the Knights reads Sasangi, Thompson, Croker and Salo. And then for the Gold Coast Titans, let's see. So AJ Brimson is in at fullback, Marzu and Kelly, a centre wing combination. Patrick Herbert and Jermaine Azarko is a centre wing combination with Paul Turner and Toby Sexton as the halves pairing. And then for the forward pack, it's more of the same. It's really unchanged in that department. And the interchange bench reads Tanner Boyd, Fodawaker, Jolliffe, and the aforementioned David Fifita. So the Newcastle Knights' past two results have been a 42-6 defeat to the Penrith Panthers in Newcastle, and they were just pipped at the post by the Canberra Raiders in the previous round, going down 20-18 to the Raiders out at GIO Stadium. The Gold Coast Titans, they took on the South Sydney Rabbitohs, and they scored some points, but they went down to the tune of something like 34-10 or something to that tune. They lost by 20 odd points in that game. And then they went down to the Cronulla Sharks the week after, 18-10. They were down 10-0 early on, and then they roared back into the contest to make it 10-all at halftime in Coffs Harbour. But then again, the Sharks were just a bit too much for them to handle on that day. And do you know what? I think the Gold Coast Titans are entering this game with just a bit better form. And I am considering tipping the Gold Coast Titans for a couple of reasons. Newcastle Knights' home record since their round 2 win over the West Tigers is abysmal. It's something like they've scored 1 try in every game and they've conceded 40. They're losing 40-6 on average at home since round 2, since smashing the West Tigers back in the second round of 2022. And also the Newcastle Knights defence, especially on their goal line, is just about the worst in the competition. Now, on the opposite side of the coin, and in defence of Newcastle, the Gold Coast Titans, for me, whenever they're attacking the line from inside the 20-metre zone, they look like they are offloading in hope. They look like they're passing, hoping that someone's going to be there to burst through a gap that the Newcastle Knights very well could create themselves and have some points put on them. But there's no real discipline or structure to the Gold Coast Titans attack this year. It's all willy-nilly sort of stuff. But I do think their attack is going to be a little bit better than the Knights. And if David Fifita comes on from the 30th minute and completely replaces Sam McIntyre for the rest of the game, which is what I think should happen. I think he needs to get out there and have a real hot crack for the Titans this weekend. I think if Toby Sexton and AJ Brimson, and to a degree Aaron Clark, if they can create a hole or give him enough and proper possession, David Fifita will break this Newcastle Knights goal line probably once or twice in this game. I think they're going to have a couple of points in them. They don't mind travelling to Newcastle, the Titans. They don't mind playing Newcastle either. So I'm going to tip Gold Coast Titans to win this game, believe it or not. 1-12 Titans on Friday night. And game number 2 on Friday night is from Bluebet Stadium out at Penrith. It's the Penrith Panthers hosting the Sydney Roosters, and the Penrith Panthers are coming into the game as $1.20 favourites, and the Sydney Roosters are $4.50. Gee whiz, that's not bad if you're a Roosters supporter for sure. I don't think there's much to this game. These clubs only met a month or so ago themselves, and it was the Panthers that won pretty safely, pretty convincingly over the Roosters. But mind you, Joey Manu had a running metre record game for New Zealand this past weekend, so he's going to be in some really good touch. Tedesco's in at fullback, or has been named at fullback, and New South Wales won on Sunday night, so he'll be chock full of confidence, but so will the rest of the Panthers team. So I'm going to make this short and sweet. I think the Penrith Panthers are going to win this one 13 plus, not an overly massive 13 plus, something to the tune of 26-10 or 30-10. So Penrith Panthers 13 plus on Friday night. Super Saturday features a trilogy of contests, and game number one is from CommBank Stadium, where we see the Canterbury Bankstown Bulldogs host the Cronulla Sutherland Sharks, and the Sharkies are going into the game $1.35 favourites, and the Bulldogs are $3.25. And this is a danger game for everyone. This is a danger game for the Sharks players. This is a danger game for the pundits, in my opinion, because coming into this game, the Bulldogs are in slightly better form, but the Bulldogs beat West Tigers by a massive amount. So how much do you read into that? And also they beat Parramatta Eels by a massive amount as well. But that's like the annual Parramatta Eels no-show, it seems to be annually. And then for the Cronulla Sharks, they only just beat the Gold Coast Titans, and considering that they were pretty much top four a couple of weeks ago, that's not a very good effort, and they seem to just be ebbing and flowing in these games over the past few weeks. So anyway, going into the team list news for Canterbury Bankstown, Jake Averillo is in at fullback, Shup and Allen are the centres, and Carraz, man, he could be Dally M Rookie of the Year at this rate. He's having a terrific debut season, and Josh Adokar as well. And Matt Burton has been named to back up after his standout performance in State of Origin. And then the forward pack is more of the same. And just a quick shout out to Raymond for Taylor Mariner. He was in really, really impressive touch a couple of years ago, and then he's just been plagued by bad injuries. And just over the past fortnight, he is starting to show that form that really impressed me anyway. And the rest of the bench for them reads Sack, Docker Clay, Corey Waddell, Joe Stimson, and Curtis Morin. Curtis Morin, I thought he friggin' did his peck or whatever, but he's been named to play in this game. Oh, gee whiz, okay, there you go. And then for the Cronulla Sutherland Sharks, everyone in the backline that played Origin or representative footy has been named to play. And then the forward pack, Wade Graham's in there at jersey number 12. And then the interchange bench reads Tolman Finucane is coming off of the bench in jersey 15. Teague Wilton and Andrew Fafita round out the Sharks. Bulldogs are going to come into this game with a lot of confidence. I think they are capable of scoring a couple of tries on the Cronulla Sutherland Sharks. I think the Sharkies need to show up defensively, because I think naturally they can score points, albeit they had a really off performance against the Gold Coast Titans in Coffs Harbour a couple of weeks ago. I'm that close to tipping Canterbury Bankstown, but I'm going to tip the Cronulla Sutherland Sharks at CommBank Stadium this weekend, but 1-12. I think this is going to be a great game, and I think it was Andrew Weiss who said on his Brekkie Morning Show a week or so ago that this game should get over 15 or 20,000 people. This is going to be a really good game of footy. So Cronulla Sharks, just. And the final game on Super Saturday is from Accor Stadium, where we see South Sydney Rabbitohs host the Parramatta Eels, and the Parramatta Eels are coming into the game $1.50 favourites, and in my opinion, deservedly so. And the South Sydney Rabbitohs are going into the game $2.50 outsiders. And going into the team list news, just scrolling down, Latrell Mitchell has been named in jersey number 1. The big fella makes his return at fullback, pushing Alex Johnson out to the wing, and Jackson Polo becomes the other winger as well, with Tane Milne and Campbell Graham being the centre combination, Walker and Ilias the halves pairing, and then the forward pack is just natural South Sydney lineup. And then their interchange bench reads Cody Nikorima in 14, Tom Burgess, Havili and Hame Sele round out the bench. For the Parramatta Eels, seems like their backline is just about what they wanted. It's just about at full strength. And then their forward pack, everyone's been named to back up from Origin or representative duties. And then their interchange reads Makahisi Makatoa, Niakuri, Kofusi, and Kai Rodwell. Now, I don't know if he's made his Origin debut, but sorry, not Origin debut, his first grade debut. But young man coming off the bench, how good. So South Sydney have won the head-to-head over the past few years. They are in front on the ledger. But I think the Parramatta Eels are going to get this one this weekend. Latrell Mitchell is going to make a huge difference, and I wouldn't be surprised if it was 22 points all with a couple of minutes remaining, and he just boots the hell out of that rugby league steed, and it floats over for 1 point or 2 points to get South Sydney the victory. South Sydney's charged to the finals. If they want to play finals footy, it starts this weekend. They are not the same side that they were last year. For me, they have not been impressive. Maybe once, that was against the Roosters earlier in the year. But besides that, they haven't been very impressive. But with Latrell Mitchell back, he's worth at least a try, a converted try, every single time he plays. This is going to be really close, but I'm going to play for the Parramatta Eels to win this one 1-12, just because I think that their best can be better than South Sydney's best. And the Eels need to be pretty bloody switched on, because they don't want a repeat of what happened to them on the Queen's birthday game a couple of weeks ago. So Parramatta Eels, and I think Dylan Brown, after he kicked some serious ass on the weekend as well for New Zealand, I think Dylan Brown and Parramatta Eels will win this one in a pretty good game of footy, I reckon. So Parramatta 1-12. On Sunday, there are 2 games, and game number 1 is from Mount Smart Stadium in Auckland. It is the New Zealand Warriors hosting the West Tigers, and the Warriors are going into the game $1.54 favourites, and the West Tigers are $2.50. Cowboys and Broncos are playing this weekend, and ladder-wise, it's the game of the round in my opinion. But this is one of the games of the year, simply because it is the Warriors' homecoming, their first game since August 30, 2019. This is a massive event. You should see what is going on at the moment in Auckland. They have returned. They are walking the streets. There are people lining them to say thank you and hello. There are harkers. There are well-wishers. It's all happening in Auckland for those boys, deservedly so. And the West Tigers, they've not been very good for the past couple of weeks, and it's a shame, because you thought for a few weeks there they were on track, but West Tigers, the basket case, have completely let go of things, and they're free-falling at the moment, even though their 1-17 lineup is still quite good. So we'll start with the Tigers then. So Dane Laurie is at fullback. The wingers are Mamalo and David Norfoluma, and Ken Mamalo gets half a homecoming, doesn't he? Because he was playing with the Warriors, 18 months ago, maybe even less than that. So this will be emotional for him as well. Then Stafford Toa and James Roberts is in there. And after all that media drama, all the media beat up over the past week or so about Luke Brooks is set to be dropped by Brett Kamali, he's been named in a jersey number 6. Just goes to show, don't give him anything. Don't fuel the fire until it's absolutely 100% confirmed by everyone. Fair dinkum. Anyway, so the forward pack reads James Tarmo and Zane Musgrove, and I am so pleased to see that Fire Manu Brown is in there with jersey number 9 on his back. I think he very much deserves it. Is it a complete dropping of Jacob Little? I think it is. He's in at jersey number 21. Anyway, the rest of the back row reads Garner, Tuolangi and Offahengawi. And then the interchange bench for the Tigers reads Uto Ikamanu, Adam Duahi, Alex Seifarth, and Fonua Pole. I think he made his debut this year, but in any event, congratulations on your jersey. And then moving over to the New Zealand Warriors, and all right, boys, if you can't get up for this game, just fold the club. And I really don't mean it, but if these lads cannot get it together for this game in particular, just dead set. So the fullback for the Warriors is Reece Walsh, and the wingers are D.W. Said and Marcelo Montoya. Jesse Arthurs and Ewan Aitken is back in a centre role, and I like that. And the halves pairing is Volkman and Sean Johnson. The forward pack is Tavanga, Fanua Blake, and Wade Egan is the hooker. And the back row is Murchie, Harris, and Curran. The interchange bench reads Harris Tavita, Afoa, Katoa, and Bailey Sirinen. Warriors are going to win this game, but I don't think it will be 13 plus. I think it'll be somewhat close, I reckon. And if you think back to their previous game, their previous encounter this year at Campbelltown, where the Warriors got the Tigers, it was one of the worst games of rugby league of the entire year so far. It could be completely different. It could be an all-time classic, this game. But I'm not expecting the best quality game in rugby league, with all due respect, in this contest. But I think the Warriors, if you think also back to round one against the Canterbury Bankstown Bulldogs in 2019, when the unfortunate, I'm sorry to bring it up to anybody that's watching that may be affected by it, the Christchurch terrorist attacks, when the New Zealand Warriors hosted the Canterbury Bankstown Bulldogs that day, they absolutely ran right over the top of them. Absolutely no one would have beat them that day. Not the Melbourne Storm, not the Sydney Roosters of 18-19, no one. The Warriors were on fire, and they're going to be a level above that emotionally, you would anticipate, you would like to think. And I just don't, even though I'm going to say Warriors by 1-12, like, that indicates that I give the Tigers a sniff. And it is a good lineup that they've got, but I think just they have no chance in this game. Even if they do nearly pull it off, they're just not going to win this game. This is the Warriors' 2 points that they need to win. It's a must win. They can win. They should win. New Zealand Warriors 1-12. Wow, what a homecoming this is going to be. And the final game to round out round 16 is the St George Illawarra Dragons hosting the Canberra Raiders from WIN Stadium in Wollongong. And surprisingly, Sportsbet have the Canberra Raiders as $1.71 favourites to the St George Illawarra Dragons $2.15. That's a really good price on Dragons, everyone. So for the lineup for the Dragons, Cody Ramsey is fullback, Matt Fengai and Ravalawa are the wingers, and Sawley and Zach Lomax are the centre combination. Monet and Hunt are the halves pairing. Jack DeBellin is in there at jersey number 8 with Blake Laurie, jersey number 10. McCulloch as the hooker. And Jack Bird, Jaden Sewer and Tarek Sims is the back row. And the interchange bench reads Mbai, Molo, Woods and Michael Molo as well. For the Canberra Raiders now, Xavier Savage is the fullback. Rapana and Chotrich are the wingers. Timoku and Chris are the centres. And Jack Whiten makes a return for the Canberra Raiders. Massive in for them at 5'8", and Jamal Fogarty is the halfback. The forward pack reads Papali'i, Tarpany and Zach Wolford as the hooker. And then the back row is Young, Whitehead and Elliott. And Adam Elliott, man, is exactly what the Raiders have needed. Such a shame that he's going off now. He's been great for the Raiders. He's been either their best or second best over the past month. He's been really, really good. And then the interchange bench for the Raiders reads Starling, Sutton, Chance Nickel-Klukstar comes off the bench in jersey 16, and Corey Horsburgh in jersey number 17. Ooh, CNK's back for bloody Canberra Raiders this weekend. That might be a bit of a tip changer. For me personally, man, there was the Raiders hoodoo that they had on the Dragons for many years. It was something like 8 or 10 wins in a row over the course of 6 or 7 years. The Dragons just couldn't beat them. I love these games. Dragons and Raiders contest since I can remember, since the early 2000s. It's not a rivalry. It's not. But these two sides really don't like each other, eh? And they always put on cracking and fiery contests as well. Chance Nickel-Klukstar back in jersey 16 is she's a weird one, isn't it? Because they're working with Starling and CNK, and then they've got who have they got? They've got Horsburgh and another forward coming off of the bench as well. So it's a small forward pack rotation, whereas the forwards for St George Illawarra, they're going to be bigger. So they're going to have the kilos on them, but maybe they're going to try and run the Dragons rampant, and that's not a bad game plan, Ricky Stewart. I reckon that's a good game plan to have on the Dragons. But the Raiders' second halves, man, I mean, maybe CNK could be the reason why they score a couple of tries in the second half this weekend. But their second halves, man, they're not doing anything, aren't they? They're really stuck in a bad mind frame. And for the Dragons, their first half against the South Sydney Rabbitohs last round was some of the most enjoyable rugby league we've seen all year. And then in the second half, they didn't score a single point. So I came into this game thinking Dragons kind of confidently, like a 1-12, but confidently. But I've nearly changed my tip, and I might change my tip later on in the week, and I'll try and let everyone know as well. But I'm going to stick with the Dragons. I said I was going to tip them, and I'll stick with them. This is such a flip of the coin. And at $2.15, Dragons outsiders, considering the level of rugby league that they played at a couple of weeks ago against South Sydney, were remarkable. And besides that, Dragons have shown that they can and do score more points than the Canberra Raiders. I think this is going to be another thriller. I think we can expect something like a 22 points to 18 sort of scoreline this weekend. I think Amone is going to be the key here. I think if he has a really good game like he did against South Sydney, I think that'll be enough. Even though CNK for the 6th time is coming off of the bench for the Canberra Raiders, so Dragons to win this game in a really good close affair, 1-12 this Sunday. Yo, that's it for me, guys. Thank you very much again this week for tuning in. Please be sure to tune in to this channel tomorrow night when I host Daniel of Daft Previews. He's a Brisbane Broncos supporter. We're going to preview in depth the Cowboys versus Broncos game this weekend. Cannot wait to see how that contest goes, and I can't wait to talk to him as well. So please tune in from 8 p.m. tomorrow, Wednesday night, and yeah, be there or be square sort of thing. Thank you all so much for the continuous support. Great to see International Rugby League came back with a massive booming success this past weekend. Yeah, hope your team wins this weekend, except the Brisbane Broncos, and I'll talk to you guys later. Adios.